Hello, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and today we've got a really great video. I'd like to bring in my co-host, Logan Landers. What's going
Hey,
on, Logan?
hey, Jeremiah, I'm doing great. How about yourself, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. So I thought that we could do a little more on the South Carolina Gamecocks. So I want to know more about Ryan Hilinski, who is their upcoming quarterback, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's hear some more about Ryan Hilinski.
Let's do it. We just did a video about, another great South Carolina quarterback with Todd Ellis just a minute ago. Now we're talking about the future with Ryan Hilinski. So, as you just said, Hilinski is the sophomore quarterback for the Gamecocks. He is 6'3", 230 pounds. He went to high school at Lutheran High School in Orange County in California. And, his senior season, he threw for 2,771 yards, total of 29 touchdowns. And, he got multiple offers, but some just that were, stood out to me were Stanford, USC, LSU, and OSU. Of course, the Ohio State University, as our friend Vincent Turner likes to say. And, we got a little bit more about Ryan Hilinski. For his 2019 season, his freshman year, he threw for 2,357 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and a 58.1% completion percentage, which is something that, I like to talk about a good bit on the show, just because that tells me just how accurate the quarterback is if he can get his passes to his receivers and if he's throwing it at a good rate. Now, something I saw, he attempted over 50 passes in 3 games this season, which, as we said, as we've briefly said, that, a lot of quarterbacks are starting to air the ball out more, starting to throw it more. And, that's just a key example right there. Over 50 passes in a game is just, you don't see that too much. You see around 40 or so, but 50 is going a little bit more.
Absolutely.
You sometimes see 60. And, he being in South Carolina, you're going to play tough opponents. You're in the SEC. You're going to be playing some really good opponents. He's played against Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Clemson. And all those teams I just talked about, they're all ranked in the top 10 at one point this season. So he did not have an easy schedule at all, per se, in his freshman year. They threw him to the Wolves, or, he didn't have any easy going in there. He played a couple of easy teams, but, man, in the SEC, you're not getting an easy game every week. That's for sure. But, going over some footage, for Hilinski, I was watching, just some highlights he had.
Pro-style quarterback. Wow. So with a pro-style quarterback, that's really incredible. And he only had 5 interceptions last year. No multiple interceptions in a single game either. That's pretty impressive. So we're going to bring
for a lot of
again.
Yeah. It's really hard for a lot of quarterbacks to, only throw for 5 interceptions against those great teams, And like, being a pro-style quarterback, man, I have a really good feeling about him so far. Also, he didn't have any multiple interception games. That's pretty rare nowadays, as much as quarterbacks are throwing the ball. He only threw, 1 pick per game, or, whatever the math is on that, but he didn't throw 2 in any game, so that's really solid. He's got a really good completion percentage, like I said, at 58%, and I only see that going up. He's got a really good arm. Like I said, if you can throw for over 50 pass attempts a game for 3 games, you gotta have a good arm for sure. He's got really good vision too. Like I said, with only those 5 interceptions, especially as a freshman too. I see him possibly having a good breakout 2020 season. I definitely could see Hilinski. I don't know. I wouldn't say Heisman level for sure yet. Going into his sophomore year, he can still grow. He can still develop for sure. But I do see him having a better season for sure. On top, he just had a great freshman year. I can only see him building on that and, even more improving, drastically.
Yes. Yeah. He definitely, when you're showing me those stats, I mean, he doesn't slack. He's ready to come at it, and he's ready to be that leader that they're going to definitely need this season. Everybody knows that because of it being an interesting year and an interesting season, it's going to be a little even more pressure to perform. There may be fewer games. There may be alternate games. There may not be any fans in the stands. So that's a much different way of playing. So it's going to be all about you. It's going to be golf. It's going to be you versus the court for this season.
So with like no fans and all too. A lot of especially in college, that's a big factor. The fans you always know that they're going to be riled up. They're going to be booing the other team. They're going to be cheering you on. But, who knows what's going to happen. If there's no fans, then I'm for sure going to play a part in a lot of the quarterbacks' minds for sure.
Absolutely. Well, for everybody watching, we've been covering Ryan Hilinski, who is the upcoming South Carolina Gamecocks quarterback. If there are any other players, prospect players, or players from history that you'd like to see us cover, please put it in the comments or send us a message. You've been watching 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio, with me, the producer, Jeremiah Long, and the host, Logan Landers. We'll see you guys a little bit later this week.
See you guys.